Introduction. Jaylan had always been the proper young lady, the essence of a daddy's girl. All of her life, she done what was expected of her. Good grades, good friends, doing all the right things. Then off to Emory U, where she suddenly meets Michael, the man of her dreams. Michael was smart and handsome. Some even called him beautiful, well-educated, intelligent, with the promise of a lucrative career, as should be Wright. Michael was cautious, never wavering from the straight and narrow, always doing what was expected of him. He noticed Jaylan. She's pretty, articulate, and conservative, all that falls into his ideal woman. You think that this was a match made in heaven. So the two of them stumbled into wedded bliss. And after years of happy ever after, one day, in a moment of boldness, one finally let go. Impulses take over, and life as it was will never be again. Monologues. All scenes are set in bland, dull, gray spaces. Act 1, Scene 1, in the beginning.
You could say I saw heaven when I first laid eyes on Michael. It was already warm that March morning on Emory's campus. The dogwood trees were just starting to blossom. The birds were humming love songs, and there he was, tall, handsome, and dressed like $1,000,000. We were both running late for our law school admission tests, and he asked me for the time because he'd run out that morning without his watch. I thought it was fate that we met. I'd lost my watch earlier that week and had just found it, stuck between the car seats. When we entered the classroom, there were only 2 seats left, and they were side by side. Call it destiny, kismet, or whatever. It was as if we were supposed to meet.
Jaylan and I hit it off the first time we met. She had on this nice fitting short dress, long, pretty nice legs. Yeah, she was nice too, sweet. I had a feeling we were going to be friends. I asked her out later that day, but of course she said no. I respected that. She didn't know me. Jaylan was different from the other women on campus. I don't know what it was about her. By the time she was on my side, I knew sooner or later she would go out with me, and she did. I was a catch, so I didn't waste any more precious time. We did the dating thing. You know if a woman is right for you. A few months in, I took her to meet my family. My dad and Uncle Leon patted me on the back. They all loved Jaylan.
I did play a little hard to get with Michael. He was a pretty boy. Oh, you know the type. Women all over the place, and I didn't need any drama. And I was careful not to get my heart broken. But he was persistent. He called every night just to see how I was doing. But what got me was the single red carnation he placed on my windshield every morning. Oh, he had me. So I went out with him, just coffee at first. Then dinner, a movie, the theater, and the park. Ooh, those romantic walks in the park. Michael and I became inseparable. So the next step was to meet my family. After all, it had been fate.
The time came when I wanted to spend the rest of my life with Jaylan. I gave her my mother's diamond ring. It was bittersweet. Mom had passed away the year before, and I couldn't share the joy with her when Jaylan said yes.
At the Sunday dinner table, I broke the good news to my family. I was engaged to marry Michael. Mama was happy. Well, ecstatic is a better word. She thought college was the perfect place to meet a husband. You're both looking for the same thing, she said. Higher learning, financial security, careers. My sisters thought Michael was a good catch too. We were all happy that we could plan our first wedding together. Both of them were going to be my maids of honor. Oh, we laughed. I remember Daddy looking up at me over his horn-rimmed glasses, but he said nothing. He said nothing at all, just looked at me in silence. I drove back down to Emory late that night, and the drive seemed longer. I planned to call Daddy like I'd done every Sunday night since I left home. We could talk about why he was so silent when I made my announcement. Not even a smile. That had bothered me. But he died that night. When Mama called and told me, it was as though the heart attack that took him took a part of me too.
Super Bowl Sunday. That was the best time to let everybody know I was getting married. We were all over at Uncle Leon's house. The whole family. The men were in the basement watching the game. Aunt Emma was upstairs with the rest of the family. Everybody was glad I was getting married. They stopped watching the game long enough to congratulate me and all that. We celebrated my engagement and the San Francisco's 49ers winning a Super Bowl championship that night. Ah, what a night!
Fade out, act 1, scene 2.
We were married the summer the OJ trial was the talk of the day. In the heat of the Carolina sun, we spoke our vows openly and made promises to live happily ever after as Mr. and Mrs. James Michael Barrett.
I said, I love you, Michael, and I will honor and cherish you always. As we embark upon the privileges and joys of our holy marriage, I will look to you as the head of our home. I will love you in sickness as in health, in poverty as in wealth, in sorrow as in joy, and will be true to you by God's grace, trusting Him so long as we both shall live.
And I said, Jaylan, I thank the Lord for the love that has bound our hearts together. I will love, honor, and cherish you always. As we enter upon the privileges and joys of life's most holy relationship, I will look to Christ to guide me in all matters. I will love you in sickness as in health, in poverty as in wealth, in joy as in sorrow, and will be true to you by God's grace, trusting in Him so long as we both shall live.
In an instant, we were husband and wife.
Fade out, act 1, scene 1, years later.
I had hurt so long until the pain didn't matter anymore. The slow ache in my heart became a part of my existence, and I learned to thrive on the hope that the death angel would come and take me soon. I'd awaken every morning alone in a bed bought for two. My body yearned for the touch it had grown used to, but snatched away by time and ill feeling. Michael slept in another room, alone too. But contentment seemed to be his truth, and he thrived on that. I imagine he felt I was content too. I'd ceased to complain. He had almost convinced me that love was still there. Almost. But I didn't fall for that nudge because I had known love, and what we had wasn't it. Oh, there were trace particles that seemed to enter during a rare touch when we passed in the hallway late at night, our loins calling out. But moments later, when the sweaty flesh cooled, the specks evaporated, and we again went our separate ways. There had been those times I thought that if we had had children, that would be enough to embrace the bond we made together years before. But that seemed like a pulling at straws explanation of why we were at this place far in between love and hate. And like a calliope, it played us from one extreme to another, depending upon the weather, the phase of the moon, and our late night walk. I heard some say that true love doesn't fade or die, but it goes through a metamorphosis, changing its shape, its color, its smell. If that is true, what color makes it okay to live in life's loneliest passageway? And what shape does love take on when it ceases to fulfill, if it had no more smell? If someone watched us from afar, would he see nothing but specks, trace particles of what used to be love, an empty vessel longing to be filled? A towering brick wall surrounded Michael and me. There was no clear way of escape without the bricks caving in on us. And if I were assured that the bricks would not just maim me, but kill me, I would have long ago broken through. Many times I thought of fleeing, not looking back, but I had nowhere to run. No clear path leads from hell.
Jaylan was always sad. I tried to make her happy. I gave all I had in me. We were not material people, so our lifestyle was modest in that sense. That's the way she wanted it, I guess. Anyway, she never complained about it. The house, I mean. She kept it clean. Seems all she did was clean and move furniture around the whole sofa from one wall to another, rearranging the cabinets and the drawers where I couldn't find a damn thing. I never complained much, though. It seemed my complaining made her sad. So I quit complaining. Hell, I quit saying anything. Early on, when we were trying to have children, she smiled. She even started working on a nursery using yellow bits and pieces because she didn't care if it was a boy or girl. I didn't care either, just as long as she smiled. When the babies didn't come, her smile stopped coming less and less, until soon she stopped smiling altogether. Not everyone was meant to have children. I guess we were in that category, the childless couples. That didn't make us less. I worked hard to give her my heart. After years of trying to love her, I just quit. Nothing promises a roving soul. Jaylan lived in this dream world of impractical steadiness and in unpractical unsteadiness as well. Life doesn't promise roses every day, and neither did I. What I promised I gave, love. Love was never enough. I had nothing more to give, so I took that back.
Fade out, act 2, scene 2.
It was strange. After all these years, how could feelings that had long been dead reanimate so strong? Maybe they weren't dead after all. Just lying dormant like a virus waiting to take hold again. I didn't mean for it to happen. A few phone calls, emails, that's all it was at first. It was nice, asking me how my day was and listening to me. And those early morning calls and instant messages were stimulating like a freshly brewed cup of Maxwell House coffee. It became nourishment to me, and I began to look forward to this daily recharge. It had begun so innocently, just talking about the stuff that had gone on in our lives when we were young, teenagers, reminiscing about the past when we were in love and wondering why we didn't make it last. Then realizing we had different life plans. Still, it made me smile again, and I longed for this. I could sense the loneliness was there too. It's probably why we let this happen. How could two people who are married to two other people make each other feel the way we made each other feel? I didn't feel guilty about giving the love I promised to another. I didn't even think of my wife. I was sure what we were doing wasn't sanctioned by God or by man. But I felt invigorated by this affair, and that had made it right. It was fate. We were supposed to be together. That's what I thought. Then, in retrospect, I should have known that our loneliness wasn't the same. I needed the warmth and not just a warm body. Then I'd listened to this televangelist one morning before our talk, and he said no man could get into heaven with a lover and a wife. Yeah, I was sure I wasn't going to get to heaven. And I was doubly sure I wasn't going to hell because we both used each other. Even though I said I was in love and made what I did seem less simple. Then the email came. The early morning email with the subject line that always read, "Good morning," in big letters had changed. This new subject would be permanently etched in my head. The "Let's be good friends" email that in essence said that we were both married and we couldn't give each other what we'd like to. I wasn't angry because of this email. I was angry with myself for not sending it first.
Fade out, act 2, scene 3.
Leaving Michael wasn't hard at all. What was hard was realizing I'd wasted 10 precious years on him. Maybe the love that had started out wasn't love after all, but the idea of love. Come to think of it, it was never the hot, pulsating love that kept me thinking about Michael long after the loving was over. I came to terms with the fact that our marriage had been a showcase for family and friends who thought we made a cute couple because we were both so cute. 2 attorneys working for 2 of the most prestigious law firms in the city. By certain standards, we were the perfect couple. We hosted the perfect parties and cookouts a few times a year. They said we served the best mixed drinks in town. I question now if those mixed drinks mattered as much as the fundamental cleverness of our make-believe world, Michael's and mine. If we could pull off such a charade as this thing we called marriage, then drinks and everything else we did was effortless. Why wasn't I happy in a marriage with a man as good a cat as Michael Barrett? He'd grown good looking to the point of beautiful, well-dressed, well-educated, great career. I was the envy of all my friends. Not bragging, but none of them had what I had, and I didn't even want it. Between the 2 of us, we earned extremely high incomes. But money is not a conduit for happiness when there is no emotional paradigm.
Jaylan felt responsible for the lack of potency in our marriage. She thought what was wrong in the marriage had a lot to do with her, and I guess she wondered if she had given all she could. Sure, marriage can go bland over time. There are things that can be done to revitalize ailing love, though. But what if the love is terminal? At first, she was angry with herself. Could she have been more open with how she felt about what was missing? Maybe she could have tried a little harder to be in love with me. A good example is when I made partner, she couldn't have been less impressed. Sure, she gave me congrats and all that. She even threw me a nice party. Invited all the right people who needed to be there. She wore the right dress and the right caterer. Everything was perfect. Almost perfect. All that was missing was her smile. But that's beside the point now.
The time finally came when I wasn't angry anymore. Not with Michael, not even with myself. I suddenly realized that what was wrong between us wasn't me. No matter what I'd given to the marriage, it would not have mattered. The end results would have been the same. Plain and simple, Michael was gay. What an oxymoronic statement. Like being told your husband is gay could be plain and simple. But it was. What had happened between Michael and Will couldn't unhappen. Regardless of how much I tried to unwind the tape in my head, when he told me, the replay was always going to be the same. He had admitted it, plain and simple. I'm gay. I think I felt relief when he told me, though. In a roundabout way, I was glad. It gave explanation to why my heart was in disorder. Call it woman's intuition or God's intervention. We could never go back to that convenient place where we existed before Will.
Sure, Will had awakened stirrings in me that I thought I had suppressed forever. Despite from how much you try to run from it, it's always there, right behind you, ready to pounce on you like a Bengal tiger. The only thing you can do is turn around and face it. I'm grateful to Will because sooner or later, if it hadn't been him, it would have been someone like him. After years of trying to go against what was naturally inside of me, I'm finally free. Jaylan has forgiven me, as best she can. Now we can both go and try to find whatever happiness we can in this life.
If I had really opened my eyes wide enough, I could have seen the real Michael years ago. Oh, there were those little hints that I jiffed off as Michael's quirky brilliance. Even his finicky ways and the incessant details of what to wear for both of us. I conceded that I just married a type A. Type gay. But I won't go back there now. All I can do is look ahead. The shroud has been lifted, and I see that there is a clear escape from hell after all.
Jaylan divorced me. She was kind enough not to bring our private life to the public. She's always been sweet like that. We split everything in half, and those things that couldn't be split up, we played poker for them. Funny, huh? I still say she cheated in 5-card draw to get the Table Rock property. That's okay. She seemed to enjoy the mountains more than I did. The funnier thing is, she's my best friend now. All those years I tried to please her. Tried to be somebody I just wasn't for her. Lying to myself. Hell, I was lying to everyone. And all she needed was honesty. We're happier now. And that's the truth about me and Jaylan.
The end.